My corporate job was draining me, so I planned to quit and travel for 6 months, but my manager convinced me to do a 3-month sabbatical instead, and now I'm back at work wishing I had just fully quit like I wanted. Posted by you can be happy now. As the title says, I, 33M, am quitting my corporate job tomorrow in order to travel for about 6 months. I am based in Europe where notice periods are normally 3 months, so it will take a while until I can start my trip, around March next year. I am lucky to have no debt and have saved enough to survive without income for 6 months. My plan will be traveling, working on my personal project on the go, and collecting life experiences and memories. I am terrified of the idea of looking for a job after coming back from the trip. I hate interviews, and I'm fully aware that it might be hard to find something comparable to what I have now given the current economy, but I am still convinced that this is the right thing to do since I work in data analytics with a fair amount of work experience, and companies need data analytics expertise nowadays to make sense of their data. Plus, I feel like this is the last chance I can do something like this, as my life will surely get complicated after my return with marriage, children plans, taking care of aging parents, etc. I've been dreaming of doing it since forever, so I guess I just want to share and get the encouragement from the community. Update, I did quit. Well, at least, I did inform my manager. We'll send my resignation letter later this week. I will still work until February 2025, and my trip will start in mid-March. I am heading to South America. Relevant comments. Can OP take a leave of absence or sabbatical? OP's response, my company/manager is not fond of it. Commenter 1, do it. I'm 50M, and I'm taking my second leave of absence from work to travel. I took a year off in 2015, and next year I'll be taking 7 months off. I would like to share a couple of pearls of wisdom I learned when I came back from my first long-term trip. Don't be concerned about the gap in your resume. Potential employers may ask about it, and just be ready to describe the experiences you learned on your trip. Don't forget to mention things like languages learned, being able to interact with people of different backgrounds and cultures, and soft skills like time management and organization. Do factor in some days to rest. At first, you'll be excited by all the new experiences, new locations, and new people you'll be meeting. After a couple of weeks or months, you may experience something called traveler's burnout. It's perfectly normal to not want to do anything. Be ready to hunker down in your hotel or hostel and take time for yourself. I disagree, this will be your last time to take a long-term trip. If you have plans like marriage or raising a family or starting your own business, they should take priority. You just don't know if you'll have the opportunity to do it again in the future. I'm saying this from personal experience. Lastly, expect your close friends and family to be exactly the same when you come back. You'll have lived 1,000 lifetimes on your trip, but they will still have been doing their regular life routine. They may ask you how your trip was and what your favorite moment was, but don't be surprised if that's all they ask you. Don't take offense. It just means your life goals and theirs went in different directions. OP's response, thank you for your sharing. It is very helpful and reassuring to hear. Indeed, I really don't know if this opportunity will happen again in the future, or if I will still have the same experiences. Where were you on your first trip, and where are you planning to go next? Would you recommend listing the gap on my CV as career break or just not mentioning it at all until they ask? Commenter 2, recruiters have different views on career breaks, and it's not uncommon to see them listed on resumes for reasons like personal sabbaticals or parental leave. If a recruiter believes that spending a few months traveling suggests a lack of commitment to your career, that might indicate the company isn't the right fit for you. The key is to be aware of the potential risks, such as a challenging job market or recruiters who may not value world travelers, and have a clear plan for managing them. For example, you could explain that you've saved enough to cover travel and living expenses for 6 months to a year without income. If you're ready to face possible rejections but remain committed to finding the right job afterward, go for it. Personally, I believe that traveling in your 20s or 30s can have a very different impact on your life compared to doing so in retirement, when you're in your 60s or 80s. OP's response, thanks for your inputs. Totally agreed. I wouldn't want to work for a company who doesn't value personal development and growth opportunities outside of the corporate life. Plus, I will spend time on my personal projects, i.e., developing my freelance business while traveling, so I am not exactly just having fun, rather giving myself a headspace and freedom to realize this plan. Which different impacts would you think of? Commenter 3, genuine question, but if anyone has any advice on how to do this? Like, what do you plan to do, hang around and meet people? And how will you fund it? OP's response, I have planned for this trip for 4 years, I guess? I saved up approximately 5% of my monthly income for this trip. Commenter 4, when you return, you will not hate interviews anymore. Your whole journey will consist of interviews with new people. Where are you from? Where are you going? What did you do? What are the plans for the future? Tell me more about yourself? Etc. Update, nearly 10 months later. I made this post around November last year, and unexpectedly received many useful advice from you guys. So I thought I should give an update on how it went. English is not my first language. Many of you said I should ask my employer for a sabbatical instead. Having anxiety about not being able to find a job afterwards, although I had mentally checked out from this job, I decided to give it a try. Surprisingly, my manager was okay with it, only under the condition that I would be gone for max 3 months instead of 6 months. I never took off work for any period longer than 2 weeks, so I agreed. Then I went for 3 months, and I had the absolute best time of my life. I visited several countries, stayed in hostels, met new people, tried new things, and saw a lot of new places that I could only dream about previously. It was truly an unforgettable and life-changing experience. I felt like I was young again and lived the life I wanted. I did not get paid, so I needed to travel on my savings, and I felt absolutely privileged for being able to afford that, but it was also because I did my financial planning properly. I saved for 4 years. Coming back was of mixed feelings. On the one hand, it was great to see friends and sleep on my own bed again. On the other hand, the first few days returning to work was hard, as you could imagine. However, seeing the world has shown me different aspects of life that I can focus on, so right now I'm trying to balance between work and life and hoping that I will be able to do another trip in the future. My main takeaways. I had a lot of random thoughts before my trip as to whether it was a good decision. However, planning the logistics and preparing for it were exciting. During my travel, I never regretted my decision for a single second. If any, I regretted not doing it sooner or longer. 3 months are actually not that long. Before I knew it, it was already over. Fully quitting or doing a sabbatical has its own pros and cons. I personally would not say one option is better than the other. It helped me stay calm as I knew I would have a financial safety net to come back, but deep down, I know I wanted something else. Having a return ticket booked made those last days dreadful, especially when I went to a place where many people travel for an extended period. It was also distracting to think about what I actually wanted in life because I was not forced to think about it, if it makes any sense to you. Overall, my experience was more an extended vacation rather than a trip of a lifetime to reinvent myself. I am nevertheless glad that I was able to recharge myself a little bit, so hopefully I will be able to continue my corporate job for some more time until it is drained out again. The best part for me was to meet amazing fellow travelers that I still stay in touch with. Some people are still on the road until today, so I can still daydream about my time through their photos. So would I recommend it? Totally. Would I do it again? Sure, in a heartbeat. I met also people older than me, so I do not think age is a constraint anymore. I promise myself that next time, I will go on a full year travel and never look back. But now it is time to refill that bank account first. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, I understand the appeal of long-term travel. It must be amazing to disconnect for 1 year and travel around the world. I am a little bit jealous of the people who have the time and money to afford it. However, as someone who grew up poor, I need financial stability. I know the world's economy is a mess right now, so that makes me think not twice, but more like 10 times before doing that. I was laid off in September 2023 and took part of my severance. They gave me more than the law mandated to travel. I visited Portugal, Curaçao, Turkey, and Chile. It was an amazing experience, but it wasn't voluntary, and I had additional money that I would never have gotten if I had resigned. Some of my best trips have been 1-week intercontinental trips, Portugal and South Africa. Some people may say it's crazy to go for 1 week, and maybe it is, but I had a great time both of those times. Ops response, I grew up in a poor country, and I totally understood what you're saying. For me, the most important thing is careful planning and, well, knowing your priorities. As I mentioned, I felt absolutely privileged because of my background for being able to do this trip. Where did Op go? Op's response, South America, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, and Chile. Op on making the transition back to reality after the traveling. Op's response, it was absolutely terrible to come back, but you gotta push through it. This phase is anyway temporary, so you need to remind yourself that it can just get better from here. Going through the photos or connecting with the people you met, who probably are on the same boat, really helps. Op on the budget/spending amount. Op's response, I spent around 8.5k euros/3 months, closer to 10k USD, including everything. I am not the luxury type of traveler, but I did not save every single penny. The biggest part was probably one multi-day expensive hike, almost 1k euros, 1,175 US dollars. Commenter 2, planning to do this next year, so please share any tips or tricks you learned from the road. Fortunate enough to have saved a bit of money plus have a pension from my first job, so I think I can stay on the road for quite a while if I manage my expenses properly. Have also thought about asking for a sabbatical rather than just quitting. Not sure I'd want to return anyway, so maybe it's a moot point. Op's response, if you can be flexible, do not plan everything up front. Allow yourself to have that flexibility because you will be inspired by others' experiences. Editor's note, Op has made an appearance here in this Boru thread. I have received his permission to post his response for all to see. Op's response, hi, I am the Op of this update. As a longtime lurker of this Boru sub, I never thought I would make it here. Imagine the feeling. I opened Reddit this morning, and the first thing I saw was this post. I had a really good time reading your comments. Yes, I went through every single comment. Some comments validated my feelings, some joked on or questioned my decision. It made me rethink my decision from a few different perspectives. Nevertheless, I am not here to defend myself at all. I can only give you a bit more information/context. Financial planning. I started saving for this trip 5 years ago, 4 years when I made the first post. It was a separate savings account that I had put on the side for any extended break that I might need in the unforeseeable future, if it makes sense to you. When I started saving, I had absolutely no idea of when, where, for how long I would want to go, or how much I would need. I just understand myself enough to guess in advance that I would definitely need this money to travel extensively at some point. So last year when I did the math, I realized that I could do a long trip that I ended up doing. I do have other savings accounts for emergency as well as long-term investment that were not impacted by this trip at all, so let's say I was able to distribute the expense of this trip across the last 5 years' expense. Also, let's not forget about unemployment benefits that I would have been eligible for upon return without jobs. Duration. I was initially planning to eat up the other savings accounts as well to afford 6 months, so the cost was also a decisive factor to shorten it to 3 months. Honestly, before this trip, I had never taken any vacation longer than 2 weeks, neither had the people in my network. Therefore, I thought 3 months were already a very long time. I agree with some comments who said that 6 months would have been best, but I did have some personal constraints that I don't want to mention explicitly here, which made any period longer than 3 months not ideal at that time. After effect. When I made my decision, I was nervous and unsure whether it was correct or not. However, I said it, and I am going to say it again. It was the best time of my life, so yes, it was one of the best decisions I made. It felt risky because I truly had to step out of my comfort zone and my daily routine to do something I never did before. For those who think an extended travel is not necessary, unfortunately I cannot convince you to change your mind until you experience it yourself. I can only tell you it was a trip of a lifetime for me, a trip that changed my way to see the world and even myself, something I will continue cherishing for a very long time. Other Redditors who did the same also confirmed the impact it had on them. Finally, I am not saying this is the absolute right thing for everyone. Each of us has our own priorities and obligations in life to make trade-offs with. I do understand that. I am truly glad I managed to maneuver to find a solution that worked for me. I grew up in a poor country without the golden spoon as well as those passport privileges, so I guess I just have that recklessness in my blood to take such a risk. I think I've been sharing too much. I hope my friends won't recognize me.